We're just a little over 4 minutes there. So first of all, welcome everyone to the Eastern Washington Surf SC Columbia Basin. This has been very exciting times with this process. A lot of work behind the scenes has happened. So I have to thank a lot of people from the Columbia Basin area, along with the Spokane crew, getting this set up. We were initially going to get this more set up May of 2021, but with the COVID and no soccer going on, had a great opportunity to get it set up. So we kind of squeezed about 10 months of work in about 3 months so far. So we're going. So first, again, welcome. I'm going to give a little a soccer operation, our business operation, kind of the structure of Columbia Basin. We'd like to welcome Jose Cedeno. He is our new DOC. If you haven't heard, he is the Whitman's men's university soccer coach. So great opportunity to have him part of our club here. Our DOC assistant is Rich Stevenson. He's been part of ASE for quite a few years in different roles of coaching and so forth. So he's stepping up into that role. Our technical director will be Ryan Stout. So he's moved from the DOC down to the technical director, allows him to do more training out on the field for players and coaches and so forth. So great spot for him. Justin Almquist is our Surf Junior DOC. He's overseeing the U6 to U10 Surf Juniors. Rec coordinator is Lily Murphy. That's the U6 to U8. She's been a coach and part of the rec program for quite a few years now, so appreciate her being back. We have 3 goalie trainers. We have Ian Reese, who is
Who cares?
We have Ian Reese. Somebody doesn't care. We have Ian Reese, who's the Whitman University men's assistant coach and also the goalie coach for them. We have Brandon Hill, who's back from the helping out with the coach or the goalies. Also Jose Herrera. That's our structure of our soccer operation. Our business operations, we have our Sarah Cabe as our administrator. You guys know Sarah from the ASE. She's a huge part of that, so welcome her back. Our registrar is Tara Severson. She's been on just about 1 year with us now, so we appreciate that. Our treasurer / financial person is Amy Carter. Game scheduler is Stephanie Fox. Practice scheduler, Chrissy Woods. So make that clear, Chrissy, if we were any practice fields, schools, parks, and things like that, Chrissy sets up all the practice times for that. All the games, the referees goes through Stephanie Fox. Equipment coordinator is Bill Cox. Communications is Cody Wintrode. And then myself, from the ASE president, I'm moving over to the board of directors for the Eastern Washington Surf there. So that is kind of an overview of our soccer operations and our business operations. And from there, is Jaylyn on?
Yes, she is.
I'm on.
All right, Jaylyn, you're taking over. Jaylyn, you can.
Am I taking over?
You're taking over.
I've never actually had a Zoom meeting in my closet, hiding out in my closet before. I have like 15 boys running around right now, so this is the only quiet place I could find. So anyway, hello everyone. I'm Jaylyn Spitz. I'm the Director of Business Operations for Eastern. I have to say that it's been such a pleasure working with all of you. I call everyone Johnny on the spot. I've never had a group of people who's just so on top of things. So it's been such a pleasure. So I thank you so much. My job has been so much easier with this population. So I appreciate that so much. I'm open to all of you. I work for all the parents. So my administrative team, Sarah, Tara, Christy in Spokane, and Melissa in Palouse, we all are here for you to serve you and the players and our coaches. So if you have any questions ever, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will get back to you right away. So if you have any questions, I'm here. Anything you want to cover, Craig?
Did you want to touch bases on registrations, uniforms, things like that?
Sure. So hold my spot. Last time I sent an email out, I kind of made it known that 98% participation was unheard of. I was expecting, if we get 60, 70%, that would be fantastic. And then all of a sudden, when it was all done and over with, we were at about 98% participation with Hold My Spot. That was unbelievable. The official registration is starting to come in. We are really doing well. 11 out of the 13 teams team formation is complete. The rosters are loaded into soccer.com. Many players have already purchased uniforms. So unless you have any specific questions for me regarding uniforms, I'll just let you know that royal blue is our home game, black is away. And for the Classic and WMPL players who had the third kit in their team store, the pale blue is for practices, and you can also use that for tournaments. Eventually, we would like to have every single player wearing same gear every time they step foot on a practice field. And all of our coaches will have surf gear on also. That's how we represent surf. That is mandatory. So we will be continuously looking at different options for uniforms and making sure it's affordable, that the first and foremost, we make sure that it makes sense for our families. Other than that, everything is going really well. I have absolutely no complaints. It's been a pleasure, really.
I did have one apparent question was we have a player who wants to, a spot is basically locked up now.
Yes.
What's the process for that?
So if that person is already placed on a team and had a verbal confirmation, you can go straight to the official registration. If you are kind of checking things out, then I would like for Sarah to connect with Ryan, and Ryan will, based on their abilities, place them on the appropriate team. And then they will officially register if they feel that it's a good fit.
Okay. I think that was one key, is that we've had a few more players that have come up that are not part of ASC, but are now wants to be, wasn't part of ASC last year, now wants to be part of Surf. And so we will get that over to Sarah and Ryan for evaluation and so forth there.
Point of the Hold My Spot was to give us a big picture of where we are, so that we can go ahead and hire the coaches, the number of coaches needed, and go through the team formation so that we can confirm coaches and see if we can have as many teams as we anticipated. So just for forecasting purposes, we won't always do that. This is the first time we've done Hold My Spot because of the COVID. Going forward, we will have tryouts, and then I will receive a roster after the tryouts from each coach. And that's when you receive a custom invitation welcoming you to a specific team with a official registration link. So that's how the process works. This is new. This is something we did, one, because we didn't have tryouts, and second, because we're going through the merger. So just, you really helped us paint a clear picture of how we're going to end up, how many teams we'll have, and how many coaches we needed to hire. So that is officially closed, and obviously people are already starting to register several. So the official registration is open. So if you're able, please don't delay.
Okay. All right. I think those are the big points there. Thank you, Jaylyn. And then is Shay on there?
I am, yes. So hello, everyone. I'm Shay Swoboda, and I'm the Director of Coaching and Programming here in Spokane. My role will be to support the soccer operations side, getting familiar with the coaches, as we've been doing weekly coaches meetings in preparation for the season starting, and so continuing to get to know them and looking forward to seeing all the players play on the field. And so Ryan has been doing a large part of the team formation process, and with his familiarity with the teams, and then certainly our support is going to be here moving forward. So one of the things that we have coming up starting next week that we'll have Keith also touch a little bit more on when we get into communications and engagement, but we are going to hold academy sessions on Facebook Live starting next week. We do have those times based on the age groups, and our Academy Director, Yvonne Torres, will be the one that is going to be doing those Academy sessions, about 30 minutes long, so that we can keep the players still on the ball. It's all individual work, just a ball and a little bit of yard space, and we'll get them active and doing some technical work. So we have that coming up, as well as our technical staff will be working along with the coaches and the technical directors in the Columbia Basin area. So right now, that's really about all I have as far as that goes. I do want to put on everybody's radar the Club Jamboree that is going to be on August 15th and 16th. And that is going to be in Spokane at Plants Ferry. And that's going to include all of our Columbia Basin teams, all of our Spokane teams, and all of our Palouse teams. So we're looking at roughly 75 to 80 teams of all surf players, a chance to get a little bit of friendly competition, as well as a fun social and interaction, a great kickoff to the season. So if you have that, August 15th and 16th, Plants Ferry Sports Complex. So I think those are the main points that I had. I think next we'll have Keith Homefelt, who is our Director of Communications and Engagement. Keith, you want to go ahead?
Right, yeah, just like Shay said, so since we anticipate Tri-Cities will be a little bit behind us in the return to play, so we're going through some of that with Spokane right now. Palouse, our location down in Whitman County in northern Idaho, they have already got the clearance to play and have gotten on the field a week or two ago. We're working on Spokane since we're in phase 2 right now. Given the dynamics in Tri-Cities, you guys will probably be a couple weeks behind us. So we would encourage you to get on the virtual academy session. So Yvonne will be doing the juniors kids, the U10 and youngers on Monday, U11 through U14 on Monday, and then the older high school kids, a session on Wednesday, as well as if you haven't seen our YouTube page, there's a lot of good technical exercises, whether it's for field players or keepers on there as well. So definitely, if you haven't, check out, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, even a TikTok account. I know a lot of us adults probably don't know what that is, but trust that the kids do. So we're trying to engage as much as possible until we can get everybody back out in the field.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. I know one of the things we wanted to address is the return to play. As Keith has mentioned, with you guys still being in phase 1, not allowed to be on the fields at this time. As we enter into phase 2, there is small group training allowed. I know we're currently in phase 2 in Spokane. However, our facilities are still closed until phase 3. So we're actively searching for ways to train if it's possible. But I'm just going to give a quick overview, not going to go in as much depth just yet. We'll certainly inform everyone on the protocols once we do get into small training. Once you
Shay, you're on mute. Can you unmute your phone?
Yes. Okay. So this can be found under resources on the website. So if you guys want to look into it further, but it's not going to be just as simple as being able to get on the field. There's a lot of protocols that we'll have to follow, and there's been several resources that have gone into formulating these guidelines here. So we will require everyone to fill out a waiver prior to participating, coaches along with players, as well as we have these following guidelines on here. So Keith, if you want to scroll down. And I'll just touch on a little bit some of the main points that are necessary is going to be that every single player is registered with Surf before they can participate in these small group trainings. And so I know things are moving along well with that. Definitely if any players are feeling sick, we're not going to want them to attend, or if they have asthma or any other health conditions that make them more susceptible. Certainly this is going to be a family choice. Once we get into the small group, if you're comfortable with training, if you're not, please let your coach know, and they can provide other training resources in place of that. So no carpooling with anyone other than who you live with. Parents not allowed to congregate at the field. We'll want them at 300 feet or in their car is preferred. No congregation of players and parents in the parking lot drop-off zones at any time. And then please use the restrooms before. Some of the facilities are not going to open up their restrooms. And the players and coaches will need to wear masks prior to and following the sessions. And then all the coaches will be the ones handling the equipment. We'll need to sanitize the equipment afterwards. Pennies will be a single use, and they'll be washed immediately after the training. So if you just scroll down a little bit, Keith, you can see just kind of a sample player area where the players are going to be 10 feet apart, and they'll have their individual cone to be able to do the individual work. And so in Washington, it's up to 4 players and a coach that are going to be permissible. So I think those are kind of the main points that wanted to touch on. A little sample of just showing, the area that the coaches will work in there. So once you guys move along into phase 2, we'll definitely touch base with the coaches on these protocols again. But until then, just wanted to give everybody a good overview. Like Keith has mentioned, in the Palouse area, they have already been following these small group trainings. It's working out well. Certainly is overwhelming to see. It's definitely a new way of doing things. But again, this comes from U.S. Soccer, all leagues. And if your players are watching any of the professionals, MLS or the NWSL, they're all wearing masks and getting their temperature and everything taken prior to training. So this is something from the top down for sure. Okay, so any questions about return to play once we're able to get into the small groups? Hopefully sooner than later. Okay, that's about all we wanted to touch base on there. Craig, if you want to open it up into questions.
Actually, one more thing. I did have a question from somebody texting me earlier was if you could maybe just touch on the college prep. You guys have done a Zoom meeting, I think it was about a week ago, and so forth on that. And we had quite a few people on there. So we can give a kind of an overview of the college prep program.
Sure. So we have a college prep team that the staff is made up of former college coaches. We have a director of financial aid from Whitworth on there, so she's able to support families from an admin standpoint as well. And so we do Zoom meetings. We are partnered with Scouting Zone, which everyone was on that Zoom call that was actually run by our partner Scouting Zone that gave a great overview of what players can be doing at this time. The process is a very extensive process, and so it can be overwhelming, but our staff is here to really break down each part of that over the course of the year and educate the players and the families on what they can do to get the exposure for their players. So that's going to be an ongoing, resources that we'll have available throughout the year, as well as we do have a college prep portal on there that will make sure that everybody has that information where players can access. We have templates, for emails to college coaches, as well as other resources, NCAA rules and things like that. So something we'll definitely touch base on more in depth throughout the year.
Hey, Shay and Keith, it's Sarah here. There was a question asked, who is enforcing compliance with player and coach guidelines? Can you touch on that real quick?
Yeah, so at each of our locations, we'll have a couple staff members who will be designated to be our safety officers for that. So at this time, we haven't determined that, but we will have at least 2 to 3 who will make sure that's being enforced.
There's one more, Shay or Jaylyn or Craig via private message asking if there's a stay-at-home order, or if the stay-at-home order extends, or if it happens mid-season, is there going to be a refund, or basically how that'll happen, since we're asking them to register right now.
Well, right now we are moving along as if things will be lifted and we'll be able to have a official season. That's not something that I can give you a definitive answer. What I can tell you is that while we will do everything we can to make sure that players are staying engaged and provide training opportunities as much as we can, if the league doesn't happen, if there are no games, if we're not able to get on in a larger group setting, then absolutely we will. I don't know how else to say it other than that we will do the most honorable thing, that we will make sure that the refunds do happen if that calls for that. But right now, we're really hopeful that everything will move along. So when time comes, when we have to actually sit down and have a discussion about that, if that happens, then we will do the right thing by all of our players and families. And we're going through that right now, that process right now for the spring season. So, and I think that all the families found our decision very fair and acceptable. So we will continue to do what's right for our families.
Thank you, Jaylyn. Yeah, that's a lot of questions. I did have a few questions on there. Met with Sarah and Amy, our financial, this morning, and going over, this is going to be now a topic on ASC soccer only for the spring season. Obviously, since we did not have a spring season, PSPL is trying to push that into maybe a summer league. We're in phase 1. We have to get to phase 4 by the time to get the teams out on the field. The likelihood by July to get to that is not looking great for our area. So here is what we are doing. Since our ASC last spring, their teams always took care of the league fees and the Washington Cup. We will be requesting PSPL to return those fees to the credit card who was paid on that account, since that's always done on the team accounts, to return that. And then ASE, we looked at all of our hard costs and so forth. We got games basically played up to about I think this is the first or second week of March. And so we looked at what we did not spend for the spring season. So the teams that did not play in the spring, we will be doing a 30% off of the club fees. Sarah will be sending an email out there. They will have a couple options. One, to get a refund to a credit card or a check mailed to them. The other option is to donate that to scholarships. So what I will ask is, for the ones who don't necessarily need the money, things that have been good for them, please donate it to the scholarships. I'm just going to ask that because there are a significant need this year with a lot of people out of work. So the people who need it, please take the refund. The ones who may not need it as much, if you're willing to donate it to the scholarship fund, that goes directly into the scholarship funds and allows us to help out more kids on there. So,
Craig, if I may, if you decide to donate back to the club, we will make sure that money stays within Tri-Cities, former ASC group, and just make sure that it's staying with the Columbia Basin Financial Assistance Program. I know that I've gone through the exact same process with the smaller groups. We've done our juniors, and we've had, shockingly, 92% of the parents who donated back. Granted, it's a smaller amount with juniors, but people have huge hearts. and that money will go directly into the financial assistance program. And the application for financial assistance has already, I've seen already 3 times as much after opening up the registration. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're able, please help. If not, then definitely request a refund. Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome. And like I said, the biggest goal is we want as many players to be out there. I never want a player not to be out on the field because of financial situation. And so we have the scholarship funds with Eastern Washington Surf. We just know is going to be a big need. And so, like I said, if you can donate it, great. If you need it, definitely take it. All right. We're just here to get as many players out on the field as possible. So. And Sarah will be getting that email out to everybody to fill out and get stuff. I'm still waiting for the call back from PSPL regarding the Washington Cup and the league fees. So stay tuned. I'll reach out to all the coaches and managers and keep them updated on that. Questions? If anybody has any questions, please make sure you hit the unmute, or you can email it over to, it looks like Sarah's checking them.
Yep, we've got a couple more questions. Can Columbia Basin players still play in the Jamboree if we are still in phase 1 in August? That's a tough one.
I can take that one. I watched. So I watched our health officer and Governor Inslee and read all the Washington youth and PSPL guidelines. So the answer would be, if you're still stuck in phase 1, no. However, do consider that the Jamboree is August 15th through 16th, so that's 10 weeks away. So travel county to county is permitted generally in phase 3. Not to be too wishy-washy, but seemingly some of the requirements do change week by week. So we're not able to get a definitive answer, but as the guidelines stand right now, Tri-Cities to Spokane travel would not be permissible until phase 3. However, being 10 weeks away, I think it's realistic that you guys will at least be in phase 3 at that time, so it will be permissible.
Thank you, Keith.
Then probably one
Will
for Shea.
Yeah, will Washington Cup take place?
Yep, probably Shea.
Shay, you're on mute again.
I don't know why it does that, but I had this problem yesterday too. So as of 2 days ago, the league said it's still on the books. I know that they did take Washington Cup. Well, for the high school girls, it's on the 7th through the 9th. For the younger ages, they went from the 1 weekend at the end of the month to trying to do a 3 weekend in a row, just knowing that many of the counties are going to be in different phases at that time. So they're trying to keep it more regional. Even the east side, west side travel would be more at central locations. However, I know that we're getting closer and closer to that. So I foresee that being a strong possibility that might not take place, just given that I just don't see everyone being in those phases at that time in order to participate for all 3. But we, at this point, the league is still showing that that's a possibility.
Okay, and one more question here. Are we going to have to fundraise house in our area? I don't know who's on the fundraising. Keith, do you have any on that?
Yeah, so Jalen can answer too as far as the club side, but we don't currently mandate any fundraising. Team by team, we do have a couple different programs that teams have taken advantage of, and once we get all the team formation process and we can reach out to specifically probably managers, we'll get further along in that. But we have teams that have done cookie dough sales and popcorn sales and teams that have done. There's a really good program called Flip You that we've done that some teams have raised a couple $1,000s that goes directly to the team. Then we have some other club programs like Amazon Smile. But I'll definitely reach out to managers. Beyond that, we don't require it. We know that some teams want to fundraise, some families want to fundraise, so that's an option as well, specifically for players. But as far as I'm aware, we don't have any fundraising requirement team by team. Definitely encouraged. And then I don't know if Jalen wants to talk about some of the club-wide stuff.
For the club-wide, we have our annual poker night. I don't know that it's feasible for everyone to drive out to Spokane for that event, but we can certainly duplicate it and have it in your area as well. That has been successful for the last 2 years we've held it. We're going to be planning our third annual one. The fundraisers that Keith was able to set up, some teams have been incredibly successful doing that. The team that I manage, the parents just chose not to. They decided they were not interested. So it's completely 100% up to individual teams to make that decision. But we have one big club annual fundraiser, the poker night, and then we also do scarves, beanies, sweatshirt sales to help fund different programming. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple more. I'll just keep reading them for you. I'll be your hostess with the messages.
I've got one, Sarah, via private message. It's probably for you or Craig.
Okay.
Can refund, I assume this is a returning ASC player, can refund be applied to return player for 2020-2021 season? Which I think it's your guys.
So I'll go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, Jalen can help.
Because we are now merged, and starting 2021 season, we are one club. However, all the funds that came through ASC system is considered separate, and we have to keep our financials separate. So when you make a request, whether you decide to donate or get a refund, I think it's the cleanest if you are able to request a refund because we're not able to do the rollover in this event. We do that for internally, but since we are not commingling funds, we have to make it very clean.
And I'll be sending that out. Hopefully next week we'll get some firm numbers, and I can send that email out to everybody. And we will ask that everybody submits whatever their choice is by the end of June, so June 30th, and then we can start cutting checks or moving the funds to the scholarship. Keith, there was a question. Can you post the document shared about the return to play so we can read it afterwards?
Yep. So it is on our website under the resources tab, as well as I think Jalen or maybe you, Sarah, will probably email it out.
Okay.
Excuse
After
me.
we have our last night with the Palouse teams, I will send it out club-wide and as an attached document.
Okay.
But you can also go on our website, www.ewsurfsc.com, and go under the resources tab, which is all the way to the right side.
Okay. And Shay, this one is for you. Since we're alongside the Palouse in Spokane, we're affiliated, does that mean we can set up scrimmages with them?
Absolutely, and that's going to be encouraged. So we'll kind of kick that off, with the Jamboree, and going to work with all the coaches to have contact information in and around their age group. So that'll be for scrimmages, player pass opportunities, for roster support during league or maybe even tournament, being able, if teams in the areas aren't participating in the same tournaments and have players that are interested. So that's certainly something we're going to be working with the coaches on, and really trying to connect the three areas and supporting rosters and supporting getting additional scrimmages and friendlies for preparation. That's all I have on that one.
At least we got to hear you there.
Okay.
Sarah, any other questions for Keith?
Sorry, nothing that I see.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else right now. Anybody have any more
Okay.
questions?
I think the other one I got earlier text was why we're requesting the PSPL, the Washington Cup, and the league fees is we want to get those dispersed because we are separate right now with ASE and Surf's financials. We want to make sure we're closing up everything with ASE. So the teams and coaches that want to play in the Washington Cup, we want to do is get you the money back. Then you're going to turn around and need to just reapply with PSPL because as of right now our registration and everything's going, our Surf card or US club cards and all that's going to be under Surf. You can then register your team under the Eastern Washington Surf Columbia Basin for the Washington Cup if that's option for you want to participate in. But we're going to get you, the goal is get you the money back to your team account. You can either disperse it equally out to whoever paid, or if you still want to participate in the Washington Cup, turn around and reapply. I'm working with Stanley at PSPL as of today. And same thing with the ASC with the 30% of the spring fee coming back to you. Those are going to either be a check to you directly or a donation into our scholarship fund. So we're just trying to do is close everything up very tightly and correctly with ASE as we're moving the remaining stuff. We just can't commingle any of our finances.
Okay, another question. Will we have uniforms available in time for Washington Cup if that takes place? I did see some items were in back order. I'm not sure about that, Jalen. I know I just ordered my daughter's uniform last week and it shipped already, so.
Same. All the feedback that I'm getting from players who placed orders, they're coming in less than 2 weeks turnaround time. And I opened up uniform stores for Columbia Basin before anyone else. So you guys have the first dibs on uniforms. So I did order one of my kids just to see what the turnaround time is going to be, and it was just
quick.
Yeah, it was very quick. 10 days, maybe.
So let's say we're pretty sure we will have those uniforms. And then when is Washington Cup? There's a few different dates. You guys, Shay, do you remember what those dates are? August?
I do, yes.
August.
So August 7th through the 9th is the high school girls. And then the next 3 weekends in a row are for the younger ages.
And like she said, those younger ages, it's a kind of a round robin format. So you won't be traveling to one location. It'll be different locations, home and away kind of situations.
I think more so than ever, I think the coaches need to talk to the family and make sure that you have enough interested players to field your team, because it takes up several weekends. Are already short summer, so it's going to be interesting if that works out at all. Did somebody actually say that our items are already on back order?
Yeah, that's what it was in the message. Francisca, you messaged that. Do you know what it was?
Is it actually the required pieces that are on back order? Because I don't know if that's even possible. So I'll have to check on that if that's the case. Francisca, what items did you see were back ordered? Last time I checked, black shorts. Okay, I will check on that first thing tomorrow morning. Okay. Were you able to get yours for your daughter? Francisca, you're on mute.
Sorry. Last time I checked, they were on back order, but our team has not gone ahead and ordered because there was a couple glitches there was a couple things on our half that we had to figure out. But as of right now, I'm checking right now, but when I did check, they were on back order.
The black.
Yes, but I'll check again.
Okay.
All that to say.
Okay, so
Received.
Jess, I want to answer your question. You will not be able to see any items on there until I receive an official roster from the coach, and that roster gets uploaded, and then you'll be able to pull individual players, your own child's uniform store open, and then you can order the items. So right now, just what I saw a previous email, we're talking about Coach Shay's Geo6 team, and I think you're a new player that we're adding. So if you're a new player, I have to manually go in there and add you on. So I will talk to you privately after the call.
Scott, what were you gonna say, Greensbury?
I was just saying that we had a glitch in that we were designated as a COFA team, and so we didn't have the proper kit loaded, and so none of our team, to my knowledge, at least we haven't received anything for Gracie, but we've sent in a team roster. We've done everything. We're waiting for the COPA thing to be changed to WNPL and to get our vouchers so that we can have our team start ordering their kits. And so that none of our team has ordered anything because we're waiting to hear back what the next step is for us.
Scott, who's the head coach for that team?
So that's Pete Shea.
Oh, that's
Sorry, jump in there.
okay.
Yeah.
I have that roster loaded, so we have to change from COPA to WNPL, correct?
Right.
Okay. And then Sarah, do you have the vouchers ready to go?
All the vouchers have been sent out for that team, so you guys should have those. If you don't, what I always say first is check your junk mail, your spam. A lot of those mails, let me know and I can resend it. And then make sure when you are saying that, yes, like Jalen said earlier, that code goes into the gift card section.
Not to the discount or voucher.
Right.
So Scott, I'll make that change, and then what I'll do is resend an email to everyone tonight.
Thank you, Jalen.
You're welcome.
Out there?
Jess, I'll check on Abigail tonight at the same time, okay? Okay, so Lacey Anderson has a question. So she's coming from another club, and we did not have tryouts. So how is she getting placed? She's just a little bit confusion. Okay, so Sarah.
Yes.
Will you connect with Lacey Anderson?
I will.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
We will figure it out.
Yep. With Ryan. Francisca, thank you for checking. I'm so relieved. First week into it, we can't be back order already, right? So. Anyone else? Okay, if we answered all the questions, I just want you to know that we are open to anybody. Contact us with whatever questions. We're always here for you.
I think, Jalen, the only comment I have is just to make sure everybody registers as soon as possible. Also doing the soccer.com. If there's any issues with their team or vouchers or anything like that, let us know. Just because we've opened up Columbia Basin first before Spokane or Palouse because they already have uniforms. So we're making the push to get us all taken care of first.
Yeah.
So my ask is if you can have your registration and your uniforms done by this Friday, that would be great. So we can get everything in process. So then we have all registration done and uniforms are showing up in the next, few weeks there. So that is my big push there. So thank you.
Thanks, Craig. So feel free to contact Sarah, Tara, or me. We are available during this process. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Good
Thanks,
night.
guys.
Keith, thanks for setting up again.
Hey, Scott. So you're saying right now it's set up as COPA uniforms, so I need to switch it to WNPL, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you able to shoot them an email, your team an email, and just say, hang tight until you get a brand new email from me? then once I flip the switch to the higher level kit, then they will get a new email from me.
Yeah, we've already sent out something that said just hold on, and
Perfect.
so just waiting.
Okay.
But so is it my understanding that so we've got a new player that's entering our team. So we're to hold a tryout or evaluation, then place them, then they can register. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.